Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of the Midnight Circuit. I am Yanni Hamburger, your humble host, ready to go. And today we've got a great guest for you. She is an actress, she is a director, a podcast co host, and a whole bunch other more. It's very hard to describe this person, but you're going to love her today. It's LK the Horror Nerd, my co-host on the Horror Nerd Experience. And right after the break, you'll get to meet LK the Horror Nerd.
Where's my bro? My twin brother Mickey.
Holly, this is where you told them to meet us, right?
Yeah. They know exactly where we are.
Hey! Remember me? We're literally out in the middle of nowhere.
Honestly, this place isn't even that scary. I think the people have hyped this place up too much.
That's disgusting.
And welcome back to the Midnight Circuit. It is my pleasure and my honor to bring in my co-host. Well, I guess I'm her co-host on the Horror Nerd Experience. Either way, it works. It works.
Hello.
LK the Horror Nerd, how are you?
Hi, how you doing? But yeah, Yanni is the co-host on the Horror Nerd, but I'm not the co-host here, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're the subject.
it's great to be here on the Midnight Circuit. What's up, everybody?
There we go. And we love doing this. And of course, here on the Midnight Circuit, this is actually very big for us because we are basically now 1 month away from the start of what's this now, season 3, I think, for us. Doing the Horror Nerd Experience. And later on, we might even have some big news about season 4 that you shared with me just earlier the day we recorded this on Wednesday. Yeah. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. But let's get to know you better here. You're a multi-talented creator in the horror space. You've got filmmaking credits, you write, you do stand-up comedy, you go and do reviews, not even just movies, it's games, it's amusement. We need your origin story. When did it hit for you that you were a horror fan?
So when did it hit for me that I was a horror fan? I want to add to that question that I was a horror and sci-fi fan, just to be clear. I would say probably the very first time that I was watching the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. My family was watching it. Not everybody in my family, just to be clear. This is like the early 90s. And I'm a little kid at the time. I gotta be maybe 4 or 5 years old at that time. For some reason, I remember that. I don't know why, but I remember it. I'm walking into the living room trying to get something to drink. And I think my mom, maybe one of her boyfriend or the ex-husband at the time, I don't know. And there's a couple other family members and some friends over. And they're all watching a Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And I don't think 3 came out yet. So when I saw that scene of Leatherface going into Franklin with that chainsaw, I was like, I almost dropped the F-bomb right there as a kid. That was going to be my very first F-bomb right there. And one of the person in the house to grab me in the house, put me in the room, and be like, "You're not supposed to do that. Mom dead." I was like, it was so cool. Now, I was a little drunk. I was just getting up on my nap, and I was looking for a joint. So early 90s, that's probably when I'd say I was definitely a Hoya fan.
So
But what really dominated was my teenage years.
so what was the first? What was not just the bits and pieces. I mean, start to finish, what was your first?
Yeah, so the first was when I got a little bit older, I was allowed to watch my very first horror movie, which ironically was Anaconda and Scream. And technically, I watched them like right around the same period. Eventually, I was allowed to watch Detective Chainsaw Massacre the following year after Scream came out. So my mom was like, okay, this is what you remember. But now you can watch Detective Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm gotta be like 12 or 13 at the time. So I'm watching her, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's why you want me to stay in my room? Okay. So yeah, Scream Anaconda was my very, very first. But Detective Chainsaw Massacre was my first bit and pizza. So that's how I would describe it. But I would say I was a horror fan for like most of my 90s because of my books I was reading. The Goosebumps book and everything that we would get for the book program. Or the pizza, or the free pizza.
Pizza bribed a lot of us to read.
Yeah, that was the only reason I was reading a book. I
That's
like the book, don't get me wrong. But I have to have the pizza.
oh, we all had to have the pizza. Are you kidding? Um, Now you are a deafblind, non-binary trans person.
Yeah, I'm blind in my left eye.
You also have autistic ADHD, which I do too.
Mhm.
Uh, so let's talk about your personal experiences and how it's shaped you as a creator. What what have you found in this genre, if you will, that helped you and on the other side hurt you?
Well, I would say that for the most part, I found a community over the years that helped me figure out what kind of content I wanted to create. In terms of like YouTube and all that, I just started developing and growing more. But what did hurt me though was the transphobia and the um, how you say unacceptability of the Hoya community because at the time when I was growing up, closed captioning was not always available on all the movies.
Very rare.
Yeah. And when you got the TV to work with the VCR, and they had closed caption on it, great, it was working. But that was really hard for me to grow up realizing that there was no closed caption, not be able to understand all the movies until DVD came to play. So eventually I got to rewatch everything on DVD for the first time and then go back and try to find a VHS tape on VCR and see which one was acceptable and what was not acceptable. Now we have like movies like Dinner that has a silent interpreter on HBO Max. Just to be clear, it's not really an actual silent interpreter, but it's an actual deaf person that's translating everything that's happening. I don't know how it works behind the scenes, but I want to interview her at some point. But you did a really great job with that. So far, we have gotten really, really far in terms of accessibility, but no, the thing it goes like, um, the more things change, the more things stay the same, that kind of thing. So while we made a lot of progress in the Hoya community in terms of accessibility, though I still something that still remaining the same, like um the ableist, the audio, and then the transphobia and so forth. So there are still people just trying to basically continue to discriminate
Yeah.
and not provide the adaptability that we fought hard for.
Yeah. Now, how has that gone into, let's say, your directing, for example? I mean, I for one am a big proponent of horror as therapy. You know that very well, being my co-host. You know how much I advocate for that. What goes into, well, not just directing, but also writing, because I think that's very important to point out. You write and direct as well as act. So talk about how your well, I mean, you talked a little bit about it, but now let's move over to the directing side. Your life
I
experience,
can give you a little bit more, but yeah,
yeah, when you're
absolutely.
writing and when you're directing, your vision of the project. Talk about how your life experiences go into both of those directions.
So the very first thing that we have to do when we start getting into production of a film or a YouTube video that we're working on, whatever we're working on, the very first thing we all get together in the morning, right? Me and my studio crew, and we have to have download interpreter on the deck before we even start working on like anything. The download interpreter though, then we have a CGI, a certified deaf interpreter, translate what a human download interpreter does. So the trigger conversion, but it's still mostly the same method. So even though I'm not dining all the time because of the fact that my hand hurts all the time, so I've tried to reduce my energy. But when we have deaf actor and actresses, yeah, I will be dining and communicating all the time and everything. But when we have mostly hearing people communicating to me, I have to have the interpreter translate what they're saying. Because lip reading can only get me so far. So that's the very first thing we have to do. We have to make sure everything is adjustable. We have to make sure we got flashing light. We have to make sure we have this ready, we have that ready, everything. Before we even write the story or the storyboard or drawing up practical effect idea or anything like that. That's the very first thing we have to do. As a director and a writer, it's really critical for me to make sure that the cast, the story, and everything is authentic and it's real and real acting, the story, but not like real life. We're going to kill somebody real. Just to be clear. Don't worry, all the practical effects was 100% fake. So I promise you.
In your face, Nancy Grace. Right.
Yeah. So having said that, it gotten to a point where, well, at this point now, we have to do that first thing in the morning when we get into the studio. Say, everybody's here, great. Interpreter's here, great. Let's get into the story. What are we writing? What are we creating? And if it's a YouTube video, we'll knock that out in 2 days, depending on like, what we're doing. But if it's an independent film, we'll be knocking that out in 6 months or 3 months or even 2 weeks, depending on what the length of the film and what the story is. But again, when it comes to my writing and my directing style, I have to make sure that we have authentic reputation, and that may I have to consult with other people who write those roles and those characters. Because you see, I'm not fully white yet, but the problem is that I cannot use my privilege that I have, the white part of my privilege, to write about the other half of my family, which is like, the Hispanic American family and the indigenous part. So I have to consult with actual indigenous and Hispanic people to help write the character. And the same thing with black reputation. I have to go ask black writers to write the character for me because I'm not touching that. I tell them my vision, I tell them what I want. You write it, and then we put it together, and that's how we do it. Because it's really about authentic reputation. And then when I go director, I have to have like somebody assist me to make sure it's done perfectly the way it's done from script to film, or sometimes film to script, depending on the style. But it's always important to have a team of people, especially in terms of adaptability, authentic representation, black representation, trans representation, and so forth in our film. Otherwise, the film's no good.
Right. So I want to move into a little bit more, especially something that's close to you and I, and that is the explosion really of queer horror. I I really want to talk about that in your writing as well, because I feel it in my writing. There is, it's not just queer elements just to be there. We're trying to tell a story. A lot of our characters, I know a lot of your characters are queer. A lot of mine are too, at the very least, bisexual. Um, talk
Queer, trans,
Yeah,
yeah,
talk
stuff like
about
that.
maybe your life experiences in that realm where, maybe there is some, I'll even go out and say it, some queer anger about what society is doing. Because I think, again, we've talked about this on several occasions, especially on Horror Nerd Experience, and I think a lot of horror fans believe this. We hold up a mirror to society. We want to mock society in a way just to show it how absurd it is. I guess, what do you call it? Absurdity, just, to be absurd.
Right.
Um, so talk about your experiences as a queer writer, as a queer film director, and how much of that comes into your storytelling.
Well, as a queer, non-binary trans person growing up, I came from a household that was not always conservative, but the mid of liberal conservative and somewhere in the middle. And there's always argument at the family table. I mean, granted, I didn't hear all of it because my hearing aid was for crap. But growing up, I was always told that we were freak or weird or whatever, and that's in the 90s, and that's weird that they carry on or carry over the same fucking entire right wing talking point from like the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, and then when they enter the 90s, and just basically keep blaming the same fucking people. That's what really pissed me off a lot. By the time I was old enough to feel like I could come out to my family and say, look, y'all fucked up because I'm queer, I'm trans. And a lot of my family members were not very happy about that. That wasn't. Some were okay with it, others were like, I think it's just a phase. Other people were ready to put me in conversion therapy camp.
Yeah, you and I got the same
Right.
things. It's just
And that was like my growing up experience. And how I put it into like the writing and everything. It made me more angrier as I got older, especially in the 2000s. Because I was getting bullied in high school, and I got worse, and I got out of high school. Honestly, that mirror that I hold up is a reflection of what white supremacists and transphobe try to do to our community. And that's what the mirror is to me. So when I write about it as a writer or in a book or whatever, or I'm writing about it in a film, and I'm directing it, I'm holding the mirror and I'm literally saying, look at what the fuck you're doing to us. This is queer anger. This is trans anger. Stop fucking doing that. And it's hard because they're not paying attention. They just want to watch somebody get killed in a fucking movie or masturbate to somebody getting killed or whatever. And that's the problem.
But enough about my kinks.
Yeah, and that's the problem, So it's gotten to that point where they don't seem to understand that horror is political. It's all type of.
Yes.
And so we as queer and trans writers, and I'm not making a generalized statement here because everybody has their own experience. But I think that we as a queer and trans writer and director and filmmaker and so forth have put a lot of our life into our film to try to get people to pay attention to the matter and listen to the story and watch the story and hopefully help them understand that we're just human beings, we're just trying to get just people. We're not crazy mass shooter or anything like that. That's your white people problem, That's not us. And that's what's so fucked up, especially in making a band with the Monopoly studio and everything. It was just really sad to see us being scapegoat. So when I go into writing and I go into filmmaking and directing, I try to capture the authentic reputation and say, look, this is who we are as a community. That does not represent us.
Right.
And that's the problem because people will rather read the fucking headline and not the story. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
And that's, I mean, again, you're right. There are different experiences. Obviously, I've had much different experience than you have in the LGBT community.
Yeah, by 10 years.
Well, because yeah, and it's also because I get it. I'm a white queer, so I don't go and get the worst of it, I guess, so to speak. Um, let's talk about though your writing and in the difference between your writing and your visual arts. You're written in your visual arts here, so we'll bring in your poetry and all that too. Do you take a different approach, or is it all just kind of the same? I guess you would say kind of the same. Obviously, you have to take certain different approaches, but is
I would
your
say,
motivations and wants
yeah,
in each medium?
yeah. That's a good question. Wow. Okay, so I would say I have different writing style when it comes to the way I prepare and approach my writing topic, if you will. So when it comes to poetry, I'm writing about what I know. And that's what my English teacher told me. Write what you know,
Yeah.
write what you know. And that's what I did. And poetry was the very first step toward writing short stories because I wasn't sure if I could write a short story yet. And then I finally got to short stories, and my approach became a little bit different because it wasn't just about what I know, but it was also about the research I had to do to make sure that the story, stays on track and not go off the rails. Then right into the book, that was a whole different ballpark to me, whole different approach because I have to like figure out what do I want to write about, what's the topic of my book. And so I have to pick this chapter and that chapter, and then see if it will become a book, and that's complicated. And then when you're writing a film script, obviously you're writing on like 3 acts or whatever like that. But film script is a different approach. Sometimes I'm writing the film script while I'm filming. And then that happens.
Oh yeah.
But most of the time I try to get the script ready done before I film. And the other time I'm filming and I'm like, know what? Hold on. I got an idea. I'm gonna change the script a little bit. And and that's it. But that's the thing about filmmaking, writing poetry, writing short story, writing books. They're all different approaches. And thankfully, drugs were not involved in any of it, except for, marijuana, medical marijuana, but that's about it.
Now you also stream as well. You do a lot of video game streaming. Obviously, you've done the cozy games and you've done the horror games as well. What do you think makes a good horror game? Like, what are you looking for in a good horror game?
Okay, so you mentioned my cozy game. Just to be clear, I have an alter ego known as the Milano Granny Gamer. So I do things that cozy, not horror related, nothing. I get into like lower class Tomb Raider or any of that stuff, Grand Theft Auto or whatever. A little bit of that, I don't care. But that's the other side of me. So
Yeah.
the horror stuff, I'm surprised you mentioned my cozy stuff, but yeah.
But we've
When
been
it
doing
comes to a
everything.
horror video game or a type of video game in particular, I wanted to say that the story mostly
Mhm.
is what I want in a video game, so that way I can play as long as I can and try to get through all of the stuff, find the clues and the sequel, the key or whatever. So that would bring me to games like Resident Evil or Silent Hill. Those games actually were one of the very first early survival horror games sort of. And it's funny you mention that because I'm actually credit with helping out with Terabytes a little bit.
Yes.
We talked about in those documentaries how the evolution of horror video game has changed over the years. The graphic change, the story change. People like jump scare, people like the story, people like to sit for hours and go like, what the fuck was that? You know? And just walk away from the game having the entire worldview change forever. So there's so many different things. But for me, I would like the jump scare. I don't understand perfectly and not conscious all the time.
Right.
I like a good storyline, and I definitely like making sure that the characters that I like, likable, and not characters that I want to fucking kill off because let's face it, there are some characters I fucking hate.
Well, on that front, what do you think about games like, obviously I know you loved the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, but Dead by Daylight, uh, even I'll even throw it out there, the Evil Dead game, when it was a thing. I know now it has gone away. What do you think about games like that just seem to be more you're just aimlessly trying to kill? There's not really that much of a story there, I guess.
You mean like the chemical game and stuff like that?
Yeah, things like
Well, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, yeah, the chemical. Well, yeah, it was a bit aimless, but they did have a bit of a story, sort of, because I was telling story of the characters that was involved. So they have like a little background and everything. But I was really disappointed that they did not have like a main story mode or something like that, where you could play the character and single player mode. Like the new Halloween game that's coming out, by the way.
yes,
We're gonna talk about that later. But oh my God, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was heading for the right direction. They almost had it, but it was just another atypical game to try to get people away from Dead by Daylight, apparently. And don't get me wrong, Dead by Daylight is great and all, but it feels like they recycle a lot of the
it's
content
very
that they
repetitive.
take from franchises that are already working on their own game.
Yeah.
Always just doing their own thing. Halloween doing their own thing. Friday the 13th trying to come back and do something different this time. So it sounds like they're getting away from atypical and finally putting all those franchise games into actual stories that you can play. And that's what I've been looking forward to. But when I first started doing the whole chemical thing, I'm gonna be honest, Dead by Daylight was like okay at first, and then I got caught. There were cheaters, there were really hateful people cutting me out, even though I couldn't hear them. And then somebody on stream told me, somebody just call you a I'm not gonna say the
Yes.
F word for queer people or whatever, but I mean, it's YouTube, so I'm not gonna say that. But they didn't call me that, and I was like, wait, they have to call me that? I couldn't hear me here. I could feel the voice and everything. And that's the whole thing about that. I really did not like that they will cut people out just like on Call of Duty or whatever. And so that's how bad it got. And atypical horror game, while it's good, and you could get others unlockable like on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever. Just by the like just and let something new take its place and not have that many toxic people. I would rather just play one player, Michael Myers or Laurie Strode at that new Halloween game. Or in a Hellraiser game where I could play one of a double. Oh,
Let's play the Hell Priest.
okay.
Come
Let's
on.
go do something kinky though. Yeah, exactly. The whole point.
Yeah.
Hello?
Let's switch over
God.
to your Ko-Fi because you do custom requests. And like a lot of people, they do custom requests. So this has become now a fun question on this show. What's the strangest request you've gotten?
Well, I haven't gotten any dream requests yet. But at one point, before I started the COVID, I did a little bit of that work. I got a really, really strong request. There was the strongest fucking request I ever did on like OnlyFans or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, no. It's hard to describe. Let's just say that the guy that stole transphobic and really creepy, that was a really weird request, and I just didn't want to do it. I took the money and basically refunded half of it because there was a deposit and everything, and I was like, "Here's your other half, back. I'm not doing the request, but I am keeping the money for the other half." Just so creepy. Really hard to describe. Yeah, exactly. It was really creepy, and that's why I was like,
But all right, so
yeah, but yeah, on COVID,
Yeah.
just to be clear, custom request, what movie you want me to review, what video game you want me to review, what book you want me to review, and stuff like that. I just want to be clear about that. That's the boundary. But that's what COVID is. We don't do any bad stuff on anything like that. So if you tell me a really weird drawing request, it's somewhat appropriate, but really weird, I want to come back and answer that question again.
but all right, now we've gotten all the stuff. We'll get the fun questions here in a little bit, but we need to
Oh
discuss
no.
what we do. That is the horror nerd experience. Where did it begin? What was your original vision for the horror nerd experience, and how close is it to what we're doing now?
Okay, so it started out originally from Appetite with Okay the Warrior, right in the middle of the actor writer strike back in like 2023, I believe. Um, I was looking for an idea of how to continue doing podcast, horror podcast. Um, Unfortunately, I was so far away from Alpha with the Warrior that I decided to just cover the news, the Warrior news, and stuff like that in the first season and talk about things that I could talk about within the realm of the strike agreement because I'm a member, I'm a union member. So, because of that, by the end of the first season, after like interviewing creator, talking about different things on the news and stuff like that, and try to cover as much as I can within the strike agreement. I would say my original vision was to talk about things that we want to talk about. Make sure that we shine a good, really bright light on the most important issue, like black reputation in horror, queer reputation in horror, trans reputation in horror, disability reputation in horror, autistic reputation in horror for people who are on the autism spectrum and so forth, and how critically important it is. And at the same time, we would love to talk about the influencer, the movie, the game. That's what the horror knows experience is. So from season one, I met you basically, and that's how we found a way to create a co-host and all that. And in season two, we were finding our footage.
Yeah,
season 3 that's coming up pretty soon. It's actually gotten a lot better so far. It's so much better. So I'd say the original version is now aligned to where it's now. So I think it's right on track to go on for the next 10 more years, hopefully.
So,
Because we're going from like horror podcast to becoming probably a full-fledged TV show at some point. That's something we're trying to do. So that's my goal, that's my vision. And I want to be able to take people on the road at some point with the horror noise experience and like have me and my co-host and all that go places and talk about those places and then come back to our studio space and be like, wow, that was an interesting fucking trip. Don't go told us to stay the fuck away. What staying the fuck away? Anyway, let's talk about this movie. And that's how we should do the TV show. And so that's how I want to do it over the next few seasons. So growing and developing from so yeah, I think the original version to where it's now definitely getting better. And I cannot wait to show everybody what we're doing on season 3 and pretty soon season 4.
we should point out, when is season 3 premiering?
Okay, so season 3 is premiering on October 1st, 2025. For the very first episode, we have a total of 12 episodes, two bonus episodes, and one season finale as usual. But we also have a bonus episode that is actually a pre-season episode coming out in September, so that's sometime in the next month or so. And I think this is a great way to introduce people and remind people and say, hey, we're coming back for season 3. Here's a little teaser to hold you over until then, you know? So we're going to be reviewing something that I think y'all will like. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to tell you what it is, but we're going to say, yeah, this is why you need to tune in on October 1st.
And we got a lot of great movies coming up. Obviously, we are now officially in Halloween season. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year? I know I've told everybody Toxic Avenger. I'm definitely looking forward to him, but what is on your plate coming up here in the fall? What are you going to knock people over at the theaters to go see?
Okay, so Toxic Avenger is one. Because everything, the trailer and all these funny advertising on Instagram, it's really funny, and I mean so funny. To talk about Liquid Death collaborating with Tati Avenger, that would be soda. No, not good for you. And it's so cool. I like that. And I like that they're collaborating with the organization for, forgiving medical debt. So every person that goes to buy a ticket to watch Tati Avenger, all that money is going to help forgive medical debt. So that could save us a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Let's see. Stranger Things, obviously I'm looking forward to that. Because I really want that fucking show to finally be finished. Wednesday, I'm looking forward to wrapping up pretty soon because they're coming out with part 2 of that season. Let's see. There was a couple other movies I'm trying to remember the name of, but it should be out in theater by now or about to come out in theater. But honestly, just go out, have fun, enjoy yourself. And if you happen to go to any haunt park, like haunted house or whatever like that, this flight is coming out with something really, really a dream for Fight Fest. And it sounds like it's going to scare the shit out of people.
That's good.
And yeah. And then, of course, you can always check out Spooky World Nightmare New England up in New Hampshire, Fright Kingdom also in New Hampshire, Salem Haunted Happening in Salem, Massachusetts. Have a good time if you're in the New England area, on me, of course.
Yeah.
I can't pay for everybody, but I will try.
And by the way, everybody keep your hands to yourself, please. That's something we need to point out here. Is haunt actor
Thank
safety
you.
is very paramount to us because we have several friends that
I
are
was a former haunt actor. I'm
yeah.
not.
Yeah, please keep your hands to yourself. I'm trying to get a couple of active haunt uh, people on before haunt season really picks up. Try to get them to tell people the same thing. All right, now that we have really been in the
Yeah, keep your hand to yourself. Yes, we're going to kill you, but we're not going to hurt you. So if you punch us, we're going to tell you to get the fuck off the property. Get off.
at that point they might punch back. Uh, but all right, we've been talking about the horror nerd experience, where it's gone, or where it's been, I guess it's the proper thing, where it is right now.
Yeah.
Where is it going?
Well, definitely going into season 3 and 4. We have some interesting surprising news that we're going to have a third person joining us, and possibly fourth person joining us. That come from another horror podcast. I'm not going to say who or what because the behind the scene information regarding that horror podcast is not good. They want to get away from us. And I can't tell you who it is right now. I can't tell you why. But it's good thing that they're leaving that podcast because they don't feel safe with the person they're working with. And they want to look for something better, something exciting, something that makes them feel like they can feel safe talking about the experiences and whatnot. And one of them happened to be non-binary, another one is a woman, a cis woman. And honestly, I'm looking forward to having them on our show. So we'll probably be a 4-person crew, along with my studio helping out and everything. So let's just say season 3 and season 4 are gonna, y'all are gonna be on board a big surprise.
Yeah, we've recorded a good majority of season 3 already, and we've had a ton of fun. I can tell you that much. Can't show you any previews yet of season 3. None of them are fully edited to that point, but it's going to be a fun ride in season 3. I can definitely tell you. All right, let's have some fun, shall we? Here near the end of the
Absolutely.
interview. All right, you are now tasked with creating a horror movie survival kit, but you can only choose 3 items. Which
3 items.
Yeah.
3 fucking items. Wow. Well, I would say one of them absolutely had to have, depending on the horror movie of the type. If it's a zombie movie, for example, I would definitely need something about people tell them, especially when it's a zombie movie.
Yes.
So, a studded barbed wire baseball bat, like Negan from Walking Dead.
That's the perfect answer.
So that's one of them.
Yeah.
Number 2 will be a crossbow.
Yes.
Gotta have a crossbow. I don't care what horror movie it is. I don't care if it's vampire or zombie or just fighting off a serial killer. I'm putting out a crossbow. I'll be like, Michael Myers, fuck you.
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point with that second one, because
Yeah, crossbow could be used for anything.
well, a crossbow really goes through any movies because you can use it. Obviously, it's very good in zombie movies. If you look at movies like A Quiet Place,
Yeah,
that would actually be the perfect weapon because the aliens could never hear it coming, and that's what you really want. You want stealth, and it's really is kind of the perfect weapon. So, with that being said, number 3.
the number 3 will have to be. It's funny you mentioned A Quiet Place because yeah. But number 3 will have to be Stanley. I mean, yeah, if you're going to be really fucking quiet to avoid a serial killer or a zombie or alien or any type of monster, learn Stanley.
Yeah.
Because you can actually live a very, very long time and get to the end and kill off whatever bad guys or monsters there are by using talent. That's the third thing I would say. And it's not even an item. It's a deal. It's a life deal.
Yeah. All right. On to another one of my personal favorite questions. Which
Oh
let's
no.
talk about tropes. What do you love, and which one do you wish would just die already?
Definitely the anti-trans and disability, definitely. The
Okay.
transphobia and disability stuff. Like, they always try to blame, like, a serial killer who's trans, like, in the Silence of the Lamb. You know what I mean? And that's definitely one trope I want to get rid of. I would like it to die. If you're gonna have a trans serial killer, it's probably a good trans serial killer, not the bad one. I mean, look at Melissa Barrera, who becomes the good thing, you know,
Hmm.
and killing for good, not for bad. So think about it: a trans serial killer who is good. There
Yeah.
you go. That's why I don't like movies like Donna Lamb very much. I mean, I love it, but I don't like the trope they have.
Right.
And the disability stuff, they always make it look like disabled people definitely hurt us. And like, we should be left behind or whatever, you
Yeah.
know?
It's funny you bring that up. We'll get to what you love here in a second, but I don't know if you saw it on Substack
Yeah.
or not, but and I'm trying to remember who wrote it, but I thought it was absolutely brilliant talking about seizures in horror. Why is it, and this is why I'm with you on the disability stuff. Why is it that every time somebody in a horror movie has a seizure, all of a sudden it's a vision, it's a moment of clarity? I'm sitting there going, no, that's not how a seizure works. That's, come on. What
Yeah.
the hell are you doing?
And very inaccurate too when it comes to trans people and disability
Mhm.
reputation. So they're like, what Friday the 13th, Jason just killed somebody in a wheelchair. And basically, that entire place is not acceptable.
Yeah, it's true.
You should put them down. That's really, really fucked up.
It is. For cheap, especially for the 80s. And we get it. It's the 80s. It was a cheap laugh,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. All right, let's go on the other side. What's a trope that either you love or you wish was used more?
Well, I definitely love the whole um comedy comedy stuff or horror comedy in general. I would like to see more horror comedy topic or joke or whatever to try to lighten up the mood a little bit. 'Cause don't get me wrong, I love a good horror movie or whatever, and I love the jump scare and everything. But somewhere along the way, I would like somebody to say a funny joke. Um, just like, oh, good. Now we can laugh about it.
A
And
cute
then like
one-liner?
chill for a minute before the serial killer showed up. Yeah, a one-liner, thank you.
There we go. Yeah, we
I
could be
would
like,
love that because they don't do that very often.
no.
So it's hard to find that.
Yeah, we could be like action movies and just have that one cutesy line, Bubba Baby Buggy Bumper.
Yeah, exactly. They got that. Why can't Hoyer have that?
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, I could go in a horror movie until John McClane's line and go like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You know,
Just like that.
I think that's why we love Freddy so much. Because Freddy had a whole bunch, the good Nightmare on Elm Street movies had
Especially in the 80s and the
killer
90s, yeah.
one-liners in those movies. We could go on forever with that one, but oh, you're gonna love this last question.
I think you had to put a good one-liner. We have to die to do.
You're gonna love this one. I know you are. And then we'll get into what I call my favorite questions of the interview. you can collaborate with anybody. And all right, a lot of people will go living or dead. I want to stick with the living. Anybody alive, who is your top collaboration?
David Howard Thornton. Definitely Melissa Barrera, because I would love to work with her on a really great film that I think she would be perfect for it. One other person, I'm trying to remember the name of the person who plays, uh, they are a non-binary an actor
Mhm.
from The Last of Us.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's that
yeah,
scene
I would love to
of
work with them.
you can see their face, but you can't remember their name.
Yeah. Exactly. I would love to work with them. They did a really good job playing that role for the whole Last of Us. It was really great. And one more other person I would say is Matthew Lillard. I have to work with Matthew Lillard. I have to work with him.
Who doesn't want to work with Matthew Lillard? I mean, come on, he's like the chillest dude in Hollywood. Come on. Uh, all right, now we get to the fun part. We get
And Kanye Reeves. I gotta work with Kanye Reeves. I'm sorry. I gotta work with him.
oh,
I have a kinky thing for him to do in a horror movie. A horror comedy movie. But you will love it. I promise. If you're watching it.
why not? Let's all do it. Erotic horror comedy. I mean, it's rarely been done. Now, as a creator, we're gonna get to my fun part because I love the answers to these questions. I've always loved the answers to these questions. Other than just
I'm
do
interested to see what question they are.
well, all right, here we go. Other than just do it, right? Which we all would say is our number one piece of advice. Let's say there is a young horror content creator, or no, one somebody who sees this and goes, ah, maybe I could do that. I just don't have the guts. What is your biggest advice for them to get started, other than just do it? Because I think that, like I said, again, that's our number one piece of advice to everybody. Where would you start?
Well, depending on the type of horror kind of creator that the person would be, I'm assuming they will probably want to do queer, trans, horror kind of and whatnot. And I've had somebody say that I inspire them to come out and be more authentic and the non-binary identity. And that's really cool. And I'm not a role model for everybody, I would say that. But the very first thing I would say, if you're getting really anxious or you're nervous or you're trying to come out of your comfort zone, very first thing I would say, if you really want to do this, experience it first. Experience it. Go to a haunted theme park, go to a rave room, match them shit, um, go talk to some people to start with. Maybe go check out a movie with a group of friends and ask them what they think of the movie. Because that could help you formulate your idea of how you want to do your review if you're doing like horror movie review. But definitely experience it. Start small, you know. Experience it, you know. Go on a roller coaster. If that's gonna help you get over your fear of trying to be on camera. But whatever you want to do, make sure you have a passion for it, okay? Because I think a lot of people who start out early burn out like right away because they feel like it's too much work, there's too much editing to do, there's too much writing to do. That's the thing. Content creation is full time. Any type of content creator. I don't care if you're a fat, flat guy content creator or a trans content creator or a horror content creator or anything like that. If you're creating content about a bit different niche, a bit different topic, definitely want to be ready for the possibility that you're going to have to allow it to work yourself in the beginning. And then when you find people to work with, like I found with Johnny and my studio crew and a couple other people that I found along the way. That is when you split your duty, you delegate your duty. And then, yeah, your workload going to be better. But in the beginning, you absolutely got to go on through it. All right? Don't give up. Don't burn out too bad. Take your time with it. The world will definitely thank you for that, especially if it becomes a masterpiece someday. So absolutely take your time with it and don't flow.
Now, another thing that it's a rite of passage in this industry that we have chosen. Give your best advice to how to deal with assholes, how to deal with, because I hate using the T word, because Trolls is one of my favorite movies, but how do you deal with the internet asshole?
Okay. Well, I have dealt with a lot of asshole, stalker, creep, really, really bad people in my life. And over time, I've learned to get a VPN. I've learned to make sure that my location is not revealed. That's really important. Because I know that safety is important for everybody, especially when you're dealing with assholes. And if somebody says a homophobic, transphobic, queerphobic, xenophobic, ableist, slurred, or anything like that, or even racist slurs, I've learned to go at it and say, "Hi, I'm holding a mirror. You're a fucking idiot. Bye." And I just like not let it bother me. But I made them realize that the idiot, and I don't use the word idiot much because it's ableist, but for those assholes, they are idiots, okay? And they don't know how to have a good argument, they don't know how to have like uh, a good response to what you're trying to create. So when they respond to what you're creating and they freak out and they're going like, oh, fuck you, and then they do all that crap, right? The very first thing you want to do is laugh before you even
Yes.
respond back.
Mockery.
And definitely don't respond back, but respond back in the most funniest way possible.
Yeah,
But
see,
definitely laugh it off at first.
that I think is like the second level of thick-skinnedness. Like, because the first level is you just got to learn how to not let it affect you. I'm not going to sit here and say, because I hate it when people say, well, just ignore it. No, it's just not let it affect you, because you're never going to ignore it. But I think you're right. That second level of thick skin is when you have the confidence
Right.
to fire back, basically, in a way.
Yeah, and that's not going to be easy for a lot of people.
Right.
So, I mean, when you grow up in high school, you're being bullied, get to that point where you're literally being bullied for who you are or who you love or what you like or whatever or how you look and everything.
Existing, basically.
So it's really important to basically take the lesson that you had in high school and apply it to the real world and basically say, this is childish. This is not going to affect me. I'm going to keep living. I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
I do not give a fuck what you think. And that's simple. It's really important to have that mindset. And it's important to have a list of healthy coping skills to get through the bad days. And make sure you have a therapist if you can afford it or if your insurance can cover it. But I have a therapist. I have a list of healthy coping skills. I got a good support system, so I'm good. So honestly, if anybody try to put me down, I'll be like, that simple.
Well, and I think this also works too, and what you're getting at with a therapist and all that, you need a good circle. I think even if it's a circle of online friends, kind of how I've
It takes a village.
yeah, right. It takes a village. I think you need a human sounding board, is I think what we're trying to say here between therapist and group of friends. Get a human sounding board. because we could probably sit here and talk about other ways of coping, which we both have done unhealthy coping skills in the past. But
Yeah, I was on drugs and alcohol in the
yeah.
beginning, and then I became clean and sober for like almost 15 years now. So
Yeah.
I'm good.
I was about to say both of us have struggled with addiction, and it's not fun, first of all, and it's very hard. We could probably sit down and do an entire show on addiction. Um, and finally, because I know we're getting close to the end of the hour here, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can support you,
Well,
that thing.
well, you can always find me on YouTube at all on the video description below. You can find me on Coffee, Instagram. I'm leaving Blue Star because Blue Star is allowing transphobic people now. So I'm going with that. You can definitely find me on Letterboxd because I write really great reviews. Granted, I've been a little bit behind on stuff, but you can find me on there regardless.
I think we all get
I
slapped.
got the core community server, um, Letterboxd. I mean, all really great stuff. And everything you can find it on the link tree below. So you can all find out what and the YouTube is absolutely important because I'm pushing for YouTube partner. So that's gonna be my next step. But yeah, absolutely. Go check it out. If you like what you see, oh, it's not over yet. Because I promise you, what you're going to see is going to be fucking awesome this year, especially during Halloween, spooky season. Me and my trio got some new equipment recently, so let's just say it's gonna be a lot of fun in 4K.
And that was going to be the final question here. Where is and I'm not just talking about Horror Nerd Experience now. Where are you going in the future?
So my YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, outside of the Warrior Notice Film, it's gone through some major changes. We're wrapping up after that with the Warrior Nerd after a season and a half. Because of the strike and everything. Honestly, I think the Warrior Nerd has been going for what take over from the. So what's going to take its place is the Warrior Nerd screen, where I will review movie, TV show, and book, video game, and all that all over again. This time, and not just like go on topic. And sometimes I want a couple people to help me review those movies and books and everything. But the whole game. And then there's something called, I can't pronounce it right, but Sinister Dungeon, where I'm going to be traveling around, checking out haunted houses, theme park, actual haunted houses with a dark history, do a little bit of ghost hunting, but
Yeah.
I air quote ghost hunting because I don't not know if there's a real ghost or not. That's why I want to find out. So I need to be skeptical and find out if there's real ghost. So we're gonna try that.
Like it.
We're gonna do some cool shit with that. Then Terabyte Gaming is coming back. Well, I'm gonna be live streaming at some point once my studio equipment for this room and the other room is finished upgrading. Because right now I'm in the middle of re-environating both rooms. So it's gonna look a lot better. You're gonna do like all kind of foil collectible poster, all of that stuff. So it's not gonna be like super white. But yeah, that's another thing I'm working on. I'm also working on a short independent film that's coming out about the when, but I'm hoping it will be a 2026 or 2027, depending on how much what we have to do with that. It's not like a really, really big short independent film. It's about 30 minutes long or so, but it's going to be pretty cool. I'm writing some new poetry and short stories and putting together an anthology to going forward called Poem from the Dark. Might be renamed a little bit. I don't know. I have to double check with the copyright and make sure that nobody using the name poem from the dark before I release the anthology too, because I want to put my horror and gossip poetry and short story in the anthology too, releasing a book every other 2 years or whatever. So that's that. Obviously, I'm gonna be like working on the horror notice for years to come. I guess you're gonna have a team around at the film festival and some horror convention and the next few years. Do me with dollar. America stuff right
That's the
now.
whole key. That is 100% the entire key right there. All right. So once again, LK the Horror Nerd, we appreciate you coming in here on the Midnight Circuit. And of course, as always, you have an open invitation back on. We might actually, there might be a part 2 closer to the end of the Horror Nerd.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we should do that for the end of the year, end of the season. Come back on. We'll talk about how we felt about this season and
Absolutely.
all the nightmares we had recording that season.
Yeah, there's a lot of bloopers. Stay tuned.
Especially when we recorded. Now, I got to point this out to a lot of people. We ended up recording, I think it was what, 3 episodes in the middle of that disgusting heat wave.
Not poor now, but yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I'm talking about the ones we recorded in the middle of that
Oh
damn.
yeah, that 1 week, yeah.
Holy God. And I think both of us were almost at each other's throats. That's that, you know.
Yeah, that's what makes us a really good team. We
Yeah.
know each other's back and we know what the fuck we're
We
dealing with. So,
We were both hot and cranky. Let's just put it, well, I don't know about you, but I was hot and cranky at that time.
yeah, I was definitely hot and cranky, but my luckily did not hit the 90 degree, but it did hit like 80 something.
See,
So it was definitely quite a bit.
and while
Humor, if you will, but yeah.
I was recording, and the heat index was like 115 while we were recording those.
Oh,
Yeah, and now you know why there was a lot of scowls on my face.
yeah, I could do that. You're gonna do that definitely in the season when it comes out. But thankfully, will be a lot more cooler when we get our Halloween bonus episode out. So,
Thank goodness for that. All right, we got to get out of here again. Thank you very much for coming on. This has been Yanni Hamburger with the Midnight Circuit, and we will see you next Friday.
okay, the horror nerd.